Of course, we all know that each and every one of us is unique, and people are always trying to define us by our personality types. Are you an A-type or B-type personality? Well, I'd like to present a new personality type. If you are agile, focused, dynamic, I'd like to think you're an F-type. You know you've done something right when Enzo Ferrari says it's the most beautiful car ever made. That was his view on the Jaguar E-type, and maybe that's why it's taken the company nearly 40 years to venture back into that territory of a thoroughbred two-seater sports car. The F-type is the spiritual successor to the E-type, and there is massive hype and excitement around this car coming to market. From a looks and styling perspective, where do you start? Where do you finish? I think Ian McCallum has done an unbelievable job in getting that excitement level right when you're looking at this beautifully sculpted piece of metal. And a piece of metal it is, aluminium, super lightweight framework, chassis, bodywork. It's something that Jaguar spent 10 years perfecting, so they do know what they're doing. But there are a couple of key ingredients that you need to make a real driver-orientated sports car, and that obviously is the engine. It is the engine notes, and it certainly is the looks. Styling, man, I'm not even going to talk on about it. I think there is nothing to fault on this car. It is beautiful. When it comes to the engine, well, we know that Jaguar does supercharge really well. And they've got two engines in the F-type, the 3-litre supercharged V6, or of course the big boy, the 5-litre supercharged monster that we're driving in. 3 models to choose from: the entry-level F-type, the F-type S, and then of course the 5-litre V8 supercharged beast. 364 kilowatts, 625 Newton meters. It is a lot of shove, and it really is an impressive car. So much power available under that right foot, especially when you put it into dynamic mode. Obviously a very important thing as well is the soundtrack. We've got a little button that you push in the car that just enhances the acoustics by opening the valves when you start driving spiritedly, and it literally is like Catwoman cracking a whip. It is unbelievable. You find yourself downshifting and lifting off just to get that overflow burble and squeak, and it's a soundtrack that is pretty unique. We haven't driven the V6, and the guys are telling me the V6 sounds like a super bike, and you obviously drive it a hell of a lot harder. The drive, super important. Imagine that beast of an engine put into the lowest, widest and shortest Jaguar ever built, coupled with the firmest suspension and body shell that they've ever made. It's all aluminium, and they've obviously been fiddling around with this for 10 years, so they know what they're doing. It gives you a really precise, dynamic driving tool. But I want to give it a little word of caution here. A lot of manufacturers have built a lot of safety into their cars. Obviously we all have to, and the Jaguar is a safe car, but part of that process means that the driver becomes desensitized, is removed out of the driving experience. Let me tell you, this V8 is a beast. It's actually downright scary. You get dozy for 1 minute, you're going to find yourself going sideways and sideways quickly. From a steering perspective, a lot of other manufacturers have gone with the electronic feel on the steering. They've gone, no, we're sticking back to the original, old school, iconic way that a sports car is meant to be driven. Mechanical steering, and it is super responsive. You want to turn that nose in, it turns in. You want to get the back to come alive, a gentle little blip on the throttle, and there's a lot of action happening. From a performance point of view, the important figures that you're going to want to know: top side at 300 kilometers an hour, it's electronically limited to that. 0 to 100, 4.3 seconds, and the bit that I love, 80 to 120, 2.5 seconds. There is so much grunt and torque available in the supercharged V8. They've also got their adaptive dynamics, so with a flip of the button I put it into dynamic mode, and that sharpens everything up. The wheel weights up even more. The throttle becomes so sensitive, it's like poof, and obviously it leaves the traction and stability control, allows you to play a little bit more so you can have fun. I would not consider turning off traction on this car on public roads, especially most of the time we've been in the wets as well. It is a handful, so with it on you're still going to be able to have tons of fun. You probably want to know how it sounds then. This is the bit that for me is the best. We push the active exhaust notes, we put it into manual mode so I can actually start engaging with this 8-speed ZF short shift box, and it is immense. It picks up the best gear ratio from an economy point of view, but certainly when you want to drive it hard, it makes sure that you're in the optimal gear. What's nice when I put it into manual mode, it doesn't automatically upshift, it maintains the gear that I'm in coming through corners. These are things that are important to drivers. You ready? I am. Listen to that. I love it. I love it. Driving a sports car is all about sensations. And that's why I said, from a personality type, this suits me. This is who I am. I know the coupe is coming out later, but I tell you what, just that engine note, top down, cruising through our beautiful country, the F-type is a perfect successor to the E-type. For the modern man, it's all about the details, and Jaguar hasn't missed a beat here. Deployable rear spoiler that gives you 120 kilograms of downforce, the deployable door handles that pop out, I mean, so subtle. They've obviously got intelligent venting as well, so when the air is needed, that pops up, and when you're driving hard, that drops down, so you've got perfect driving visibility. These things are important, but more important to me is that you don't lose the soul and the spirit of what makes a sports car so good. And they've got that spot on. Massive horsepower, lots of drivability, mechanical steering. Those are the details that are more important to me. So yes, Ian McCallum has done a great job. It looks hot, it's beautiful, it's modern, it's got all the creature comforts you want. But the minute you get behind it and start driving it, that is when you find yourself drifting back to the old days of when cars were made to thrill, to move, to excite. But you know what, this F-type isn't about paper and small talk, it's about driving. And that's exactly what I'm going to go and do.